Greetings and welcome to Monster Legends for another special feeding episode. This time we're going to be feeding a fellow whose pieces I've had for a while, but my viewers have insisted that I must craft and I must hatch. And of course, I listen to my viewers. This is Baltasar, and Baltasar is darkness. He's also from the underworld, and he's evil legions, but he showed up with lots of open ruin slots. Wasn't that nice of him? He must realize that that is the secret of actually getting played. Of course, good skills and good stats will definitely help as well. So let's find a home for him, a temporary home. He can learn evil from the leprechaun. Okay, so he was getting a little slicey and dicey with that one. And of course, he's obviously a bit on the older side because, well, he had 3 evolutions. Alright. Okay, so where is our little friend here? Okay, this is Nigish. No, that's not. I gotta tell you, I'm leaning very heavily on calling him Cole. Does anyone get that reference? So this is Baltasar. He is a legendary, he is darkness, he is immune to possession. That can be very useful. Let's check out his stats here. His strength is actually pretty good. His life is not really good at all, even by the old standards there. He's definitely a glass cannon, definitely glass cannon. His speed isn't bad, not bad at all, not as good as his strength, but it's not so bad. Considering he's probably, I'm guessing from the stabby there on his arm, I'm guessing he's a damage dealer. Alright, so let's check out his initial skills. Alright, so let's start with deals low physical damage and deals low dirt damage. And of course his special skill, Vendetta Fraterna. Okay, deals massive dark damage to all enemies, may make all targets bleed, may apply stamina leak to them. Okay, so that's a very good skill. Definitely very good skill, especially with his strength. It's definitely going to do a lot of damage. If we're going to run into this kind of situation, I'm just going to skip the names because I'm just going to butcher them anyway, right? Baltasar was abandoned as a baby. He grew up alone in the underworld. He was born in the underworld? Okay, he was born in the underworld and he was abandoned in the underworld. Okay, that's kind of an evil thing to do, but then again, he's in the underworld, right? Surrounded by criminals. See, there you go, right there. There, he quickly became familiar with the art of the blade. It wasn't long before he learned that in his community, there were only 2 options, kill or be killed. He chose the former. All right, he learned to do that as a baby? Okay, I guess he's very well trained then. Well, he's not really very well trained now, because he doesn't have his skills, except, of course, for those other ones. We're going to have him eat some tomatoes in order to get his real skills. So let's begin. Let's start with his first evolution, and I do mean his first evolution. All right, there he is. All right, is that like a blade or is it a shield? Maybe it's both. And then he was gone. All right, so let's continue, because I want some skills. So let's get skills. Deals moderate dark damage, 0 cooldown. Oh, that's not bad. Not a bad place to start. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be skipping names. Alright, so let's continue to level 10. Deals low dark damage to all enemies, 50% chance of giving them nightmares. Alright, well this is a terrible skill. Yeah, really terrible. And it was a 3-round cooldown. I mean, it was low damage. It only had a 50% chance of getting, oh pardon me, it's a 2-round cooldown. I saw 3s and I got it wrong. Doesn't make it good. I mean, if it was a 1-round cooldown, maybe, but, you know, we're not going to keep it anyway, right? All right, so let's get to 15 for good skills, right? Deals moderate special damage, 50% chance of stunning. All right, so he's going to be doing stunning. All right, so, well, you can just throw that up there for now. It's not like I'm going to keep it. All right, so let's continue to level 20, another skill. Deals low dark damage to all enemies, may make all targets bleed. 50% chance of giving nightmares to all targets. First of all, it says low dark damage. Clearly the gauge is showing mid-moderate damage, right? It also says it's going to, make them bleed unless it resists it or they're immune to it or something like that. And then it has a 50% chance of giving nightmares. So I would say that's not so bad at all, especially for a 2-round cooldown. Although I don't know why it's saying low. Is this another instance where the gauge is just really off? I guess we're not going to know until we actually see it in action. But that's not bad. Not bad at all. All right, let's continue to level 25. And, of course, his final form. Deals moderate dark damage, 50% chance of a blinding target and making it bleed. Oh, that's interesting. All right, you know what? Why don't we just throw that there, because why not? All right, and there he is, his final form. He's got, like, rapier on his back now. Is he going to pull that out? Does he even need it? Because, I mean, that shield looks pretty spiky as it is, right? And the tatters of a cape floating in the wind. All right, I guess we don't get to see the sword. All right, so let's see more of the skills. Level 30. Deals moderate special damage, may give nightmares to... Okay, so that one, I think, is an upgrade. That was a group one. I guess we could just throw it there. I don't know if I'm going to use it, but, it's a 0 cooldown. What was this, a 0 cooldown? That was a 0 cooldown, too. I'd probably use that one, but I guess maybe there'd be an instance where you want to do that. Although I can't imagine why. I mean, blindness and bleeding, even though it's only a 50% chance of blinding, it is a may bleed, so... I don't know. It may be useful. I guess we'll have to see what his final skills are, right? All right, let's keep going then. To level 35. Deals moderate dark damage to all enemies. May give nightmares to all enemies. 50% chance of making targets bleed. The first one we have up here, I'm going to do like side by side. And by the way, the gauge has the same damage for both of them. This one here is a 4-round cooldown, though. I don't understand this. It's a 4-round cooldown for something that only has a 50% chance of making them bleed. This one here is a 2-round cooldown and has a 50% chance of giving nightmares. I'm guessing the gauge has to be off on the first one, otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. Alright, so I'm going to put that one down here at the end, because, I mean, look, it's an upgrade of that one, right? I guess until we actually test him, we're not going to know. Alright. So we should have at least 2 more skills left, so let's see what they are. Hopefully the first one's at 40. Deals very heavy dark damage, may blind target. Okay, so this is a straight bleed here. I mean, that one gives nightmares, but it's also his only special damage hit. So do I want to lose that one? It's also a 0. Well, that's a 0 cooldown as well. I mean, this one is a lot of damage, though, and they're probably... I mean, it is getting the blindness, right? And they're probably already bleeding, because I have 2 other skills that, one does bleeding and the other one does 50% chance for bleeding. So I think this is probably a good swap right here, because, I mean, it really should have that, and I do have a 0 cooldown already, so just going to keep it. Although whether I get to keep that other one, we'll see when we see our last skill. Hopefully at level 45. We saw that one already. And level 50. Deals heavy special damage, may make target bleed. And a little space in there would be nice. Alright, so I guess... like I said, they're probably already bleeding. Okay, this one is a 2-round cooldown. This one's a 2-round cooldown. This one's a 4-round cooldown. Do I care about nightmares? The thing about it is it's a bit more damage, yeah. But it's 0 cooldown. I think I'm going to keep the one that I have. I mean, they're probably already bleeding, like I said. And I think that slot there, you kind of need to have something in case of an emergency, right? This one is a better one. I like this one more. And like that's a 2-round, that's a 2-round, that's a 4-round, right? I think having a 0 cooldown is really just a good idea. So I am going to keep that one, the one that I have already. Alright, so let's just get him all the way up to level 60. I'll take a quick look at his skills, even though I'm willing to bet that I got everything already. And level 60. Alright, I'm pretty darn sure I got everything. Right, that's the one we just said no to, or I said no to, not we, right? Yeah, I think that's about it. Alright, let's see what his stats look like. Okay, 2275 is actually pretty good considering he is an older character. He has the 3 evolutions, which means he's ancient, right? So 2275 is pretty darn good for a strength. Now his life, let's face it, it sucks. It really does. He's glass cannon right there. You touch him, he just falls to pieces. His speed is actually pretty good too. I mean, the thing about it is, again, this is an older character, but his speed is actually pretty good. It's approaching 2200 there, so that's really not too bad at all. So he can get a lot of torture effects down and get a lot of damage in there. All right, let's just let's check out the skills and see what I selected and see what we're going to do with him, right? We'll start with this one. Deals low dark damage to all enemies, may make all targets bleed, 50% chance of giving nightmares to all targets. So, what damage is this? The gauge? I'm guessing the gauge is just wrong because we did see a lot of that in older characters, although he's kind of borderline between whether it's an older character or a newer character. He does have the 3 evolutions. His stats are good though, but I mean the gauge is showing mid-moderate damage. So, we're going to have to do a comparison between this one and the older one, right? The one we have at the end, I should say. Now, the thing about this one is going to make them bleed unless they resist it or they're immune to it, right? It's only a 50% chance of nightmares, which is the opposite of the last one. Good thing about this one, 2-round cooldown. So, I mean, he can get them bleeding and he can keep them bleeding too. Always good thing for our enemies. Then we have this one. This is his biggest single target attack. And it's darkness, of course. Deals very heavy dark damage, may blind target. Now, blindness makes it harder for them to actually hit, which is a good thing for us, not for them. And it's a 2-round blindness too. So that's a good solid darkness hit as well. So that's going to do damage. Then we have this one. Deals moderate special damage, may give nightmares to target. Now I kept this one instead of taking one that did more damage and did bleeding because it is a 0 cooldown. I don't actually see using this one very often, but it might be useful. He gets his cooldowns activated or some other kind of thing happens. I mean, his next skill does have a 4-round cooldown on it. So I'm thinking I just keep this one for protection purposes, right? It says moderate special damage, but it looks like it's high. I guess once again, we'd have to test with him to see exactly what kind of damage he's doing here, right? All right, and then we have this one. Deals moderate dark damage to all enemies, may give nightmares to all targets, 50% chance of making targets bleed. This one has a 4-round cooldown. It's slightly more stamina than the first one, but we're really going to have to do a comparison because according to the gauge, this and the first skill, the one I set up here, do the same damage. That cannot be right because this one's got a 2-round cooldown. This one's got a 4-round cooldown. So I'm guessing this is probably the right damage that the gauge is showing, and the other one is just wrong. We're just going to have to use them on individuals, groups, and see what the difference in the damage is, right? I'd be very curious about that. I'm betting that the gauge is wrong. But the thing about it is, I'd much rather have a may chance to bleed than a may chance to nightmares and only get a 50% chance for bleeding here and a 50% chance for nightmares. Bleeding is a far better torture effect than nightmares. So that's the thing. That's the reason. Now, if you're getting both of them, that'd be pretty good. But, I mean, you only have a 50% chance of getting both of them. So we'll have to see how that works out. Anyway, the skills are pretty darn good. Again, he is an older character, but they do a lot of damage. And he does have a decent strength here. I'm very concerned about his life, though. Especially today. I mean, these days, you have, denial individuals with 13 or 14,000 health at this point. And he's got 9,300? I mean, that is really bad. He's going to be easily killed. That's the thing. Very easily killed. But he is going to do damage if he gets the opportunity, right? So with that strength, you probably want to take advantage of it. He does have some strong hits here. We've got the one big one over here. You probably want to put damage on him. I guess you're going to go with 2 damages. I don't know if I would use really big ones on him because, yeah, I mean, he's not going to do an amazing amount of damage, but you want to take advantage of that strength. I would use a team speed on him, a support speed, because, I mean, he's got the extra attacks that do torture effects, but it's kind of repetitive too. If he uses this one and he makes the percentage roll, I mean, you're going to go for this one, maybe you use this one first. But it's the same torture effects. It's not like he's putting on different ones. It's not like, okay, we got bleeding and we got nightmares over here, and over here we have maybe quicksands and nanovirus or something, just saying that. So, I mean, it's not really a rush to get the torture effects down. See, I put speed on Drakkar because he had so many different torture effects that I just want him to spam them like crazy, But in this case, if he's making the team faster, that'll be fine. Anyway, this is Baltasar, and Baltasar has got some good skills. His life is kind of terrible, but he's got a great strength and a good speed too, so should be interesting to see how he performs. Anyway, I think that's going to do for now. So, thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it. And play games, because games are fun. See you.